First it will form the 43 pre-initiation complex. 43 pre-initiation complex. Then after that it will form 80S initiation complex. Okay. Then once initiation will start, then two sites is there in ribosome. One is the P site, another is A site. P site means for that is peptidyl site. A site is for amino acid tRNA site. Okay. So what will happen? Both in carboxyl group of the tRNA of P site binds with the amino group of the tRNA in the A site. They will bind a peptide bond. Understand? So once they will bind by peptide bond, what will happen? That in P site, the tRNA will be deacylated. That means that amino group is, or that amino acid is removed. That will bind to the in A site. That will bind in the A site of the tRNA of amino acid. What will happen? That amino acid now the tRNA will be empty. That will be released. And what will happen? That tRNA with two amino acid binding by peptide bond, that will be transferred from A site to P site. From A site to P site. That is called as translocation. That is called as translocation. Then it will start elongation process. So one by one amino acid will bind and the long polypeptide chain will be synthesized. Okay, and different factors, different eukaryotic initiation or elongation or termination factors will be help for the total process. Then once that polypeptide will synthesize, whatever the suppose one protein is required 50 amino acid. So once that 50 amino acid is filled, then what will happen? It will be released. Okay, and the termination factor will bind. Termination factor will be bind. What are the termination signals? What are the termination signals? These are the three codons are there. That will be, anyone will be bind, then will be the peptide chain or polypeptide will be released. Okay. So now today we will discuss about the inhibitors of the translation process. In extension point of view, this is your very important short note question, inhibitors of translation. After finish 2 slides, any person I will ask will come and describe. So listen carefully. Okay. Last page, all of you listen carefully. So this is all these antibiotics. Suppose tetracyclines. Suppose your tetracycline is an antibiotic. What will happen? How it will act? What is written here? Inhibiting binding amino acid tRNA to A site. That means in A site tRNA is there. B site also tRNA. Both amino acid is there. So what will happen? They will bind by peptide bond. Then from P site it will remove, and A site it will transport to the P site. That antibiotic what will happen? The tetracycline it will bind to the amino acid tRNA, inhibits to the bind that amino acid tRNA A site. That means from once it will bind to the A site, what will happen? That means it will, or translocation process will be closed, or for binding of the peptide bond, or formation of the peptide bond will be stopped. Is it clear or not? Or everything going on upward? What will happen? This activated tRNA, it should bind to the A site. What this antibiotic will do? It will inhibit the binding of this. That means it should enter here. Then only this amino acid and methionine they will bind here. They will binding by the binding by the peptide bond. Once it will enter here, or that activated tRNA. This is the activated tRNA. Activated tRNA. That should bind to the A site. So what this antibiotic will do? It will block here. It will block here. That means it will not enter to the A site. It will not enter to the A site. So that translation process will be stopped. Next antibiotic is streptomycin. Streptomycin binds to the 30th ribosome. Codon and anticodon, they are usually interfere. The streptomycin, that aminoglycosides drugs, streptomycin, gentamicin, neomycin, these drugs, how it will act? It will bind to the 30th ribosome, and the conformation of the 30th ribosome, the structure of the 30th ribosome will be disrupted. So exact structure will be not work. So one structure will be disrupted. What will happen? The codon and anticodon, that pairing should be there. That means complementary pair should be there. Then only proper amino acid will be synthesized. What will happen here? That codon and anticodon, that pairing will be once due to the structural changes, that pairing should be not occur. Okay, that's between. That means the mRNA will misread the tRNA. Okay. Next is your chloramphenicol cyclohexamide. They will inhibit the peptidyl transferase. What is the role of peptidyl transferase? What is the role of peptidyl transferase? Peptidyl transferase, the enzyme, what is the role? So that antibiotic, what will happen? How it will block? It will block the peptidyl transferase enzyme. So once it will block the peptidyl transferase enzyme, then the translation process will be stopped. How will translation process will be stopped? Chloramphenicol. How to inhibit the peptidyl transferase? Once this antibiotic, it will inhibit the peptidyl transferase, so the bond between the two amino acids, it will be stopped. Interfere. Next year antibiotic is that erythromycin and clindamycin. How this antibiotic will work? They will inhibit the translocation process. That means this same thing. Once this they will bind, this will release here, and this will translocation. From this side, A side to with this amino acid and tRNA, it will enter to the P side. That means that process is called as translocation. That means that change in position. That will be inhibited by the erythromycin and clindamycin. Okay, so this antibiotic, what is it? Will inhibit the translocation process. That means it will not from this A side, it will not enter to the P side. So translation process will be stopped. Okay, so another also important thing is, this is in prokaryote. In eukaryote, diphtheria toxin. Diphtheria is caused by Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Okay, Corynebacterium diphtheriae. So what that toxin, how will this toxin or diphtheria toxin, how it will work? How it will blocks? This is dangerous. What will does? That toxin in eukaryote, that will also inhibit the translocation process. but only difference is there. Erythromycin and clindamycin, it will inhibit the translocation process only. Without that factor, it has no role on the factor. That is factor 2. See here, this is the methionine and amino acid binding is there. From this side it will enter to this side. That is called as translocation. This empty is there. Okay. So which factor is for this process? Which factor is responsible? That is factor 2. Factor elongation factor 2. So what will happen? That diphtheria toxin, it will inhibit that factor 2. It will inhibit the factor 2. Okay. So difference is there. One in prokaryote, another one is the arts, or how it will dangerous. So here factor 2, it will block the factor 2, because for translocation process, that means transfer from the A site to P site will initiated by, or it will be carried by the factor 2. Okay, it will carried by the factor 2. Diphtheria toxin only, it will block the factor 2. It will block the factor 2. Then translocation process will be stopped. But that antibiotics I told, that antibiotics, it will not inhibit the factor 2. It will not inhibit the factor 2. It will inhibit the process of translocation. That means transfer from A site to P site. Understand? Only difference. That will inhibit the process of this side is empty. This activated tRNA, should enter to the, or should bind to the A site. After that only that protein synthesis will be continue. So that means this process, after binding here, this tRNA should be, it will be released and this will be transferred to here. Okay, that process will be blocked by the antibiotic in prokaryote, but in diphtheria toxin, what diphtheria toxin will be only inhibit that factor 2. It will inhibit the factor 2. That means it will be both are inhibit the translocation process, but only difference is there. One is inhibiting the factor, another one is inhibiting that translocation process. Okay. Next is your puromycin, that antibiotic puromycin. What will happen? It is a analog of tyrosyl tRNA. So that means same structure as the tRNA, activated tRNA. Same structure as the activated tRNA. What will happen? That same structure, it will enter to the A site. Suppose one protein, suppose we want 50 amino acid, a peptide containing 50 amino acid. Suppose 25 or 30 amino acid chain already synthesis over. Another 20 required. That time what will happen? Puromycin, it will enter to the here. Puromycin will enter to the A site. It is the analog of the tRNA. It will bind to the here. After binding, what will happen? But it is an analog same structural formula, but exactly not there. So what will happen? That peptide chain will be premature peptide chain will be released. Understand? That will be stop the protein synthesis. It will stop the protein synthesis. So that suppose the protein requires 50 peptides or 50 amino acids, 50 containing 50 amino acids, a peptide chain. That will be before that maturation of protein. That means it is a immature protein will be released. Understand? these are very important for the inhibitors of the protein synthesis. Tetracyclines, streptomycin, chloramphenicol, erythromycin, clindamycin, puromycin, all these things, that 5 or 6 that we have to write, and how it will be mechanism inhibiting. This table very important. Okay, very important. It may come as a 5 marks question. Next is your very important. This is post-translational modification. Essay question, long question. Post-translational modification. That means once that protein will be synthesized, it will be not biologically, it is not active. Biologically, it is not active. That means it function, or it cannot perform its function without modification. Same like as post-transcriptional modification. Post-transcriptional modification already we have discussed, because that primary transcript, once it is synthesized, it will be not work properly unless it will go for modification. Same like here, it will go for modification. Okay. What are these modifications? Very important. First is it will go for folding, protein folding. Okay. Next is your protein folding, means that is a protein. What is the structure of protein? Primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary structure. So that means tertiary and quaternary structure have to attend. Then only it will be biologically active. Okay. So it will go for folding. Next, it will by proteolytic cleavage. Intine slicing means, that means non-functional part of the protein. It will be released. It will degraded and released. Functional part will be binding. That means exchange. It will be bind to. Next is your covalent modification, also called as chemical modifications. That means it will carboxylation, then phosphorylation. So many reactions are there. Addition of prosthetic group one by one will be discussed. Just listen carefully, very important for your essay question. Protein folding. Well, a protein folding means that will go for three-dimensional structure. Okay. Or we can tell that is quaternary or tertiary structure have to attend. Then only it will be work properly. If and for that folding, one protein will be held. That is chaperone proteins. That is chaperone proteins. These chaperone proteins are the nothing. These are the ATP dependent ATPase proteins. Okay. This will help for the proper folding. This will help for the secondary, tertiary and quaternary structure. Okay. Suppose this folding will be not properly. After all these things, suppose that foldings are not properly. That means that protein will be aberrant proteins. It will not functional proteins. That it may cause the diseases. That is called as prion diseases. So prion diseases, one is human prion disease, another is animal prion disease. In human prion diseases, that is one is Puru disease. That is what will happen in the disease of Puru? Cerebellum will be affected. And another disease, that is Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. In that disease, what will happen? Cerebral cortex will be sponge-like structure. And another one here, Alzheimer's disease. That is also, it is under human prion disease. ran disease, that is bovine spongiform encephalopathy or mad cow disease. That mad cow disease, what will happen? Brain stem will be affected. Brain stem will be affected. All these diseases due to aberrant proteins. Due to holding of proteins will be not properly occur. Understand? Holding of protein. That means secondary, it may deficient in the secondary structure, tertiary structure or quaternary. So if structural configuration or structure of the protein will be not proper, then only these diseases occur. Okay. Next, by the polypeptide cleavage, or also called as that process is also called as trimming process. Also called as trimming process. Examples you can. What will happen? That means one protein is there. Two end. That end should be, and it may after cleavage of the end, then only that protein will be active. Examples we can take. Pre-pro-insulin to insulin. Pre-pro-insulin, it will be active or non-active? Inactive. When it will be active? Only after degradation of the, after C peptide will be released and signal peptide will. C peptide and signal. It will be released from the two end, then only it will be active. Same like trypsinogen to trypsin. Trypsinogen is not active. Okay, trypsin only after degradation or butylated cleavage, after degradation, then only active. Pepsinogen also it will be not active. When after degradation, pepsin only will be active. These are the nothing. These are the polypeptide cleavage. These are the polypeptide cleavage, are also called as trimming process. See here. So this is the pre-pro-insulin, signal sequence is there, C peptide is there. So signal peptide or signal sequence will be released by cleavage. Signal sequence will be released at where? In endoplasmic reticulum. That is called as pro-insulin. That pro-insulin, from pro-insulin, C peptide will be released. C peptide will be released at Golgi apparatus. Then only it will be active. Understand? Understand or not? That means, see, what is proteolytic cleavage or trimming? That means that is nothing. That is the inactive, from the inactive protein, active protein will be formed by the cleavage, by the polypeptide cleavage. That means two ends or that end will be degraded. Okay. So examples, that is you can take that pre-pro-insulin, that is inactive. So C peptide and signal sequence will be by cleavage process, by degradation. C peptide and signal sequence will be relieved, then only insulin will be active. Okay. Next here, covalent modification. Covalent modification, or also called as, you can tell that is chemical modification. That is chemical modification. That means either addition or deletion. Then only that protein will be active. Okay, that will be active. It may be addition, it may be deletion. Examples of phosphorylation process. Which enzyme will helpful for the phosphorylation process? That is protein kinase. What will happen? This is the non-phosphorylated protein. Non-phosphorylated protein will be phosphorylated. That means phosphate group will be binding of the phosphate group or addition of phosphate group. By which enzyme? That is the protein kinase enzyme. And that phosphorylated to dephosphorylated. That means that phosphate group will be removal by the which enzyme? That is the which enzyme? That is phosphatase enzyme. Any example you can take? Any many examples are there? Metabolism. Cholesterol synthesis. What is the key enzyme? Yes, yes. That is HNG-CoA reductase. HNG-CoA reductase. HNG-CoA reductase at what form it will be active and at what form it will be inactive? Where it will be dephosphorylated. Where it will be dephosphorylated, that means this form. When it will be dephosphorylated, only that time it will be active. That means under cellular needs, when cellular cell requires more cholesterol, then only it will go for dephosphorylation. When cell requires more or demand is there, that time it will go for which enzyme it will works? That time what will you, yes, what will happen that time? Cellular demands is there. That means it will be active. Active means at which form it will be active? HNG-CoA reductase. Dephosphorylation. That's why wrongly I am telling you are catching or not. Okay. So what will happen here? When it will go for dephosphorylation, that means phosphate group will be removed from the HNG-CoA reductase. Then only it will be active form. And when cellular demands is not required, that means cholesterol now not required. That means synthesis should be blocked. Synthesis should be inhibit. At which form? That time more. Which enzyme will works more? That time kinase enzyme. Okay, protein kinase will be act rapidly. Okay, so the work of the or the load of the protein kinase will be act properly. Then only it will go for phosphorylated. When it will phosphorylated, it will be inactive. Dephosphorylated time it will be active. One example that is your protein kinase or that HNG-CoA reductase. In fatty acid synthesis, one enzyme it is there, that is fatty acid. That is another enzyme, very important enzyme, fatty acid synthesis. Acetyl-CoA carboxylase. Same thing, same like as your HNG-CoA reductase. Acetyl-CoA carboxylase. How it will work? Same like. When it will be dephosphorylated, that will be active. Dephosphorylated, it will be active. When it will be phosphorylated, that means phosphorylated by the kinase enzyme, it will be inactive. Same. Okay. Glycosylation. Glycosylation means addition of glycosyl or addition of carbohydrate. And it is oligosaccharide addition. So, examples you can take here. Asparagine serine 329, that means it will be not active when addition of oligosaccharide will be there, then it will be active. See here, this is the serine addition of formation of N-acetyl galactosamine. How? By glycosylation process, asparagine also by glycosylation process. And very important thing, another hydroxylation reaction. Hydroxylation reaction. It is your 2 marks question. Very important hydroxylation reaction. Very important. What will happen here? What is the importance of hydroxylation reaction? It will be maturation of collagen. So during collagen synthesis, proline and hydroxyproline. Proline and lysine have to go for hydroxylation reaction. Addition of hydroxyl. Okay, then only it will be active for the synthesis of collagen. Okay, hydroxyproline and hydroxylysine. Okay, which vitamin is required? Vitamin C. Very important. Okay. Carboxylation reaction. Glue converted to GLA. Glue to glass. Already in physiology already discussed or not? Glue converted to glass. For that means addition of one extra carboxyl group. Addition of one extra carboxyl group. Then only it will be active. This is it. So glutamyl residue converted to gamma carboxy glutamyl residue. Glue converted to glass. That means it is a reaction of carboxylation. Examples of carboxylation reaction. And which vitamin require? Vitamin K. One short MCQ question may come. MCQ question or 1 mark question may come. What is that question? Name the vitamins which is required for the post-translational modification. That is your PG question also. Or in final exam, that question 1 mark question may come. Name the vitamins or what? Name the vitamins which is required for the post-translational modification. Which vitamin? C and K. C and K. Other vitamins not. C and K. Okay. Suppose that MCQ C is not there, only K is there. That you put K also. Correct. Understand? Keep in mind, vitamin C and K required for the post-translational modification. Addition of prosthetic group. Addition of prosthetic group. Examples you can take, that is globin is there. So heme binding with the globin. Unless it is binding, it will not work. So addition of prosthetic group. That is also one post-translational modification. And another one, so biotin. Biotin also, it is binds to the acetyl-CoA carboxylase. Another point was there, intense splicing. That means nothing I told. That is, suppose polypeptide is there. Okay. Same like in post-translational modification. Introns are removed and exons are will be binding. Then only it will be properly work. Same like here, intents are, it will be removed and extends. It will be bind. Then only it will be active. Post-translation modification, in that this slide is very, very important. Okay, this slide is very important. From there, draw that structure and one by one you have to describe it. How that folding occurs, okay, how that proteolytic cleavage occurs. Proteolytic cleavage, only one example you can give, that is pre-proinsulin to insulin. Pre-proinsulin to insulin. In intense splicing, intense will be removed, extends will be ligated, then function of the protein will be. Next was covalent modification. 1 or 2 examples you can give. One is hydroxylation reaction, another one is carboxylation reaction. Okay, like that 1 or 2. Glycosylation. So many are there. 1 or 2 examples you have to give and describe. This is very, very important. Example point of view, post-translation modification is very important. Okay, inhibitors and post-translation. Okay, so replication over, transcription over, now translation over. Only one regarding molecular biology, one is pending, that is protein targeting. Protein targeting.
As I believe you have started reading the courses of cranial nerves. Cranial nerves পড়ছো তোমরা? Start করেছো? ঠিক আছে. So we should have a framework before going to study a particular cranial nerve, and that is the number 1, fiber components. What are the components, fibers that constitutes a particular nerve? এটা আওয়াজ আছে? The next part is the origin of this component fibers, that is at the nuclear level. When you reach at the nuclear level, then you have two things. Number one, higher connections, and number two, the fibers that are coming through the brain substance. That is the descending fibers from the nucleus as the intracerebral or within the intracranial codes. Then they exit from the brain or spinal cord wherever it is attached. Then the extracranial codes and its branches. But most important is you should remember its branches. Most important is you should remember the branches, that is the distribution of a particular cranial nerve. If you can remember what are the branches it gives, then automatically the fiber component, then higher up to the nucleus, and the higher connections will be easily remembered. So which part is most important? Remembering the branches of a particular nerve. All right, we study the cranial nerves, grouping into them into somatic motor nerves, the sensory nerves, and the mixed nerves. What are the nerves mostly carrying the motor fibers? Ki nerves royeche motor fibers carry kore? Good. একদম এই ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজটা আমি শুনতে চাই। 3, 4, 6, 12, right? Very good. Next, what are the mixed nerves? What are the mixed nerves? 5, 7, 9, 10, আমি এই টার্মটা শুনতে চাই। নাম্বার 1, ঠিক আছে? 3, 4, 6, 12, 5, 7, 9, 10, ঠিক আছে? Then is the purely sensory. What are those? 1, 2 and 8, ঠিক আছে? Why there is no, হ্যাঁ বলো, হ্যাঁ, very good, আরে bravo, ব্যাপক, all right. So in this enumeration you have found that there is no 11th nerve. In this enumeration we don't have any 11th nerve. Though the 11th nerve is purely a motor nerve, but it has two roots, cranial roots and the spinal root. Its cranial root is a detached nucleus for the vagus, detached motor nucleus of vagus. The nucleus of cranial root of accessory nerve is a detached motor root of vagus, and it is being supplied by the branches of the vagus. So it is accessory to vagus. That's why it is called accessory. So it is accessory to vagus. That's why it is called accessory. And the spinal component is a different parameter. Spinal component is a completely different parameter for the spinal accessory. ঠিক আছে? It comes from an elongated nuclear origin from the lateral aspect of the motor nucleus, motor horn of a spinal section. একটা যদি spinal section করো এরকম করে, so this is a তোমার সেন্সরি রুট বেরিয়ে আসে, ঠিক আছে? এইটা তোমার মোটর রুট বেরিয়ে আসে, forming the nerve root. This is the common trunk. The nucleus of spinal accessory just like here, close to the motor horn of a spinal segment, ঠিক আছে? আর এটা যাবে কিরকম করে? এই ফাইবার গুলো এই লুপের মাঝখান দিয়ে যাবে। ফাইবারস গুলো কোথা দিয়ে যায়? এই যে লুপ, ঠিক আছে, অ্যান্টেরিয়র অ্যান্ড পোস্টেরিয়র রুটের মাঝখানে যে লুপ, সেই লুপটার মাঝখান দিয়ে যাবে কে? স্পাইনাল রুট অফ অ্যাক্সেসরি, and it is this elongated nucleus is at this level, at this position, from C1 to C5 segments of the spinal cord, C1 to C5 segment of the spinal cord, that is giving rise to the spinal accessory that passes behind the first tooth of ligamentum denticulatum. মনে আছে তো? সামনে ভার্টিব্রাল আর্টারি, পেছনে স্পাইনাল অ্যাক্সেসরি যাচ্ছে, ঠিক আছে, তার সঙ্গে কিছু সার্ভাইকাল নার্ভ রুটের ব্রাঞ্চও যায়, ঠিক আছে, বোঝা গেল? ফার্স্ট রুট অফ লিগামেন্টাম ডেন্টিকুলেটাম এর সামনে ভার্টিব্রাল আর্টারি, পিছনে স্পাইনাল অ্যাক্সেসরি, ঠিক আছে, দুটো সেপারেট অরিজিন হলো, ঠিক আছে। নাও কামিং টু ভেগাস, you have no idea till now that is what is encephalization. তোমরা এখনো পর্যন্ত encephalization কাকে বলে তোমরা জানো না। All the senses are basically from what? Receptor cells outside the cranium. All the senses that we appreciate comes from the receptor cells outside the cranium. Now these senses are carried to the brain and spinal cord, that is the central nervous system, via the neural component. All right. Now, in this process, these senses are being gradually centralized. All right. There are some senses which are centrally originated. ঠিক আছে, একটা সেন্স বলো যে সেন্সটা সেন্ট্রালি অরিজিনেটেড, আমরা বুঝতে পারি যেটা, ঠিক আছে, অলফ্যাকশন, ভিশন, টেস্ট, টাচ, ঠিক আছে, আমরা বুঝতে পারি, আমরা মুখে যখন, এক মিনিট, মুখে যখন দিলাম আমরা বুঝতে পারি যে এই সেন্সটা আমার টাং থেকে এলো, তাই না? কিছু যখন স্মেল করি আমরা বুঝতে পারি যে আমার এই ইয়েটা নোজ থেকে আসছে, মানে এখানটা স্মেল করলে তবেই আসছে, আদারওয়াইজ আসছে না, ঠিক আছে। ট্যাকটাইল সেন্সেস, এগুলো কিন্তু আমরা বুঝতে পারি, দিস সেন্সেস আর originating peripherally, all right, with different grades of encephalization. পরে আসছি, but give me one example that anybody can appreciate that these senses is not related to any location of any peripheral receptor. বলো দেখি। হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, ঠিক আছে, তুমি খারাপ বলোনি, একজন বলো দেখি, কেউ কিছু বলতে পারো কিনা। একটা সেন্স বলো যে সেন্সটা আমরা নিজেরা বুঝতে পারি, ঠিক আছে, খিদে পেলে আমাদের অ্যাবডোমেন থেকে আসছে, আমরা বুঝতে পারি, ঠিক আছে, প্রবলেম অফ ডেগ্লুটেশন, কাফ, ঠিক আছে, বুকে চাপ, যা বলবে তুমি, পেইন, টেম্পারেচার, ভাইব্রেটরি সেন্স, সমস্তই আমরা বুঝতে পারি যে এখান থেকে আসছে। কিন্তু there are some senses about which we cannot locate from where it is originating. একটা সেন্স বলো। It's a good thing. ব্যালেন্স আমরা বুঝতে পারি না, বললাম তো, ব্যালেন্স ইজ এ গুড এক্সাম্পল, ব্যালেন্স এন্ড ইকুইলিব্রিয়াম, ঠিক আছে, ভেরি গুড। আরেকটা, আমি এটা শুনতে চাই না, একটা জিনিস বলো, বল একজন কেউ। There is a sensation called the consciousness about myself. কোথায় আছিস রে তুই? এইখানে। কোনটাকে বলিস? আমি এইখানে, 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 কোন লেভেলে বুঝতে পারিস কোথায় তুই আছিস? এখানে আছিস, এখানে আছিস, এখানে আছিস, কোথায় আছিস? লোয়ার রুটে আছিস, কোনখানে আছিস তুই? ঠিক আছে, সো দিস ইজ দ্য consciousness. All right, so the consciousness and the more later developed is the language sense. These are the centrally mediated senses. All right, those are encephalized senses. These are encephalized senses. Which sense first got encephalization? কোন সেন্সটা সবচেয়ে প্রথম encephalized হয়েছে? চিরে কোন সেন্সটা সবচেয়ে প্রথম এনকেফেলাইজড হয়েছে? টাচ, পেইন, টেম্পারেচার, ভাইব্রেশন সেন্স, পজিশন সেন্স, জয়েন্ট সেন্স, ঠিক আছে, হাঙ্গার, নসিয়া, পেইন, ঠিক আছে, কোনটা রে? এনিবডি? আরে এগুলো চিন্তা করতে হবে। ইট ইজ দ্য olfaction that goes the first encephalization and we try to put, এই যে ক্রেনিয়াল নার্ভস গুলো লিখে রয়েছে, এটা শুধু অ্যাটাচমেন্ট অনুযায়ী না, ইট ইজ অ্যাট দি লেভেল অফ ডিগ্রি অফ এনকেফেলাইজেশন, ঠিক আছে। ওরে ও ও তাড়াতাড়ি আয়, ফটি গাছ গাইছে বলো, এই যে 12টা নার্ভ দিয়েছিস, প্রথমে কে আছে? olfactory. So olfaction is the first sense that got encephalized. Now there is another thing that is called intuition. That is called intuition. We can feel the apprehension, worry, anxiety related to any situation, related to our surrounding circumstances, external or internal. This intuitive sense is mostly originates in the vagus nerve. কোথায় আছে? It is originated by mostly the vagus nerve. আমাদের এই যে ভয় ভয় লাগে, বুকটা দুরদুর করে, ঠিক আছে, অ্যাংজাস হয়ে পড়ি, ওয়ারিড হয়ে পড়ি, টেনশন করি, এই যে পুরো সেন্সেশনটা, it depends upon the frequencies or the vibrations that are passing through the, or the energies that are passing through the vagus nerve. That's why vagus nerve is very important, very much important. All right. The vagus nerve originates in the medulla. Vagus nerve originates in the medulla. Its fibers or its rootlets comes from the posterolateral sulcus of the medulla. Which one is the posterolateral sulcus? Ventral aspect of the medulla তে কি আছে? সেন্ট্রালি আছে দুটো, on either side দুটো পিরামিড আছে, তারপরে অলিভ রয়েছে, ঠিক আছে, তারপরে অলিভ রয়েছে। তাহলে এই পিরামিড আর অলিভের মাঝখানে কি আছে? অ্যান্টেরোল্যাটারাল সালকাস, ঠিক আছে। আর অলিভ আর ইনফিরিয়র সেরিবেলার পেডাঙ্কলের মধ্যে রয়েছে পোস্টেরোল্যাটারাল সালকাস। অলরাইট, থ্রু দিস পোস্টেরোল্যাটারাল সালকাস around 10 to 12 nerve rootlets come out. কিরকম দেখতে লাগে জিনিসটা? কিরকম দেখতে লাগে জিনিসটা? How does it look like? is the pyramid. In the ventral medulla. And on either side, these are the polyp. Here lies the anterolateral surface. Alright. And after this gap between the inferior cerebellar peduncle, this is the inferior cerebellar peduncle. The column of fibers that is going to form the inferior cerebellar peduncle. This is the cut surface. So between the inferior cerebellar peduncle and the polyp, that forms the posterolateral sulcus. Through that posterolateral sulcus, the rootlets come out. এখান থেকে বেরিয়ে চলে আসে। ঠিক আছে? এরকম করে বেরিয়ে চলে আসে। About 9 to 10 rootlets that unite to join to form the vagus nerve. Where these fibers join, finally, কোথা থেকে জয়েন করে? ঠিক আছে? In the intermediate compartment of the jugular foramen. ঠিক আছে? These fibers join to form the vagus nerve in the intermediate compartment of the jugular foramen. সবগুলো জয়েন করে গেল, রুটগুলো সমস্ত জয়েন করে গেল। Within the intermediate component of jugular foramen, there is a ganglion. There is a superior ganglion or the jugular ganglion of the vagus nerve. All right. Then this nerve lies in close relation with the 11th nerve. ঠিক আছে? Intermediate compartment 9, 10, 11 তিনটে নার্ভস আছে। About which the 10 and 11 lies in a common sheath separated by arachnoid septum, and 9th nerve remains separated. All right. The spinal root of cranial accessory. Here is the cranial root. The spinal root of cranial accessory also joins with the cranial root within the intermediate compartment of the jugular foramen. তাহলে এই রুটলেটস গুলো সেগুলো জয়েন করে যে বান্ডলস গুলো তৈরি হলো, সেই বান্ডলস গুলো ইউনাইট করলো ফর ভেগাস নার্ভ উইদিন দ্য intermediate component of jugular nerve, along with loose connective tissue association of the 11th nerve. So 10th and 11th are in a common sheath. 9th nerve, that is the glossopharyngeal nerve, is remaining separate. Along with the cranial accessory is coming, and the spinal root, this one, the spinal root will come. Posterior space of the first root of ligamentum denticulatum. তাহলে এই যে রুটটা আসছে, এই রুটটা গিয়েও কি করবে? এইটা এখানে তো বান্ডলগুলো জয়েন করলো, এই বান্ডলগুলো জয়েন করছে। ঠিক আছে? এই জয়েন করে এইখানটায় Here we will find the superior ganglion of the tubular ganglion of the vagus. After it comes out, it forms the inferior ganglion or the nodose ganglion of the inferior ganglion or the nodose ganglion of the vagus. So this is the jugular ganglion and this is the inferior ganglion, nodose ganglion. You see, this is the hypoglossal nerve. Hypoglossal nerve crosses superficial to the inferior ganglion, that is the nodose ganglion of the vagus. ঠিক আছে? আর এইখানে এইটা যেটা আঁকলাম এটা হচ্ছে ডরসাল নিউক্লিয়াস অফ ভেগাস আর এটা সলিটারি নিউক্লিয়াস। এটা কি ডরসাল নিউক্লিয়াস অফ ভেগাস। দিস ওয়ান ইজ dorsal nucleus of vagus. And this one is the solitary nucleus. These two roots is also giving origin to the, this is the cranial accessory. This is the cranial accessory which is going to remain as a, in a common sheath with the vagus. এখানে common sheath এর মধ্যে রয়েছে vagus in association. ঠিক আছে? আর এই যে C1 C2 এর মাঝখান দিয়ে উঠছে হচ্ছে C1 to C5. নার্ভ লুপের মাঝখান দিয়ে উঠছে হচ্ছে স্পাইনাল অ্যাক্সেসরি। ঠিক আছে? স্পাইনাল অ্যাক্সেসরি জয়েনিং উইথ দ্য ক্রেনিয়াল অ্যাক্সেসরি উইদিন দিস tubular canal. All right, intermediate compartment of tubular canal, and at the lower part it is again separating and coming out as a separate branch. Cranial accessory, the spinal part is joining with the cranial part within this tubular component, and this is coming out just at the lower aspect of this intermediate component. So the spinal component and the cranial component is only together within the jugular component. At the lower part, this is again becoming separate. All right. So this is the jugular ganglion or the superior ganglion of the vagus is the inferior ganglion or the nodose ganglion of the vagus. Inferior ganglion or the nodose ganglion of the vagus. Nodose, N-O-D-O-A-C, nodose ganglion of the vagus. Now from the inferior ganglion, close to the inferior ganglion, we find number 1, pharyngeal branch, number 2, some cardiac branches, and the superior laryngeal branch. 1, 2, 3, and this is the vagal trunk. Now it comes the 1, 2, 3. Then comes the vagal trunk, trunk of the vagus nerve. ठीक है? At the time it comes out through the jugular foramen, it gives out 2 branches. Number 1, one recurrent meningeal branch that re-enters this canal, that is the jugular foramen. একটা recurrent meningeal branch. আর একটা কি? Alderman's nerve. আরেকটা হচ্ছে কি? The Alderman's nerve. ঠিক আছে? That is the auricular branch of vagus. ঠিক আছে? Auricular branch of vagus. Alderman's nerve. ঠিক আছে? এটা কি না? Auricular branch of vagus. আর এটা রেকারেন্ট ব্রাঞ্চ না, মেনিঞ্জিয়াল ব্রাঞ্চ ব্যাক করে গিয়ে পস্টেরিয়র ফোসাকে সাপ্লাই করবে। ঠিক আছে? অল্ডারম্যানস নার্ভ কেন বলে? A British alderman first noticed that soaking a cotton wisp in rectified spirit, and if I put it before taking food for some hours within the external auditory canal, it stimulates the appetite. It stimulates the appetite. But heart stimulation of this Alderman's branch, that is the auricular branch of vagus, can cause যদি হার্টস হয় স্টিমুলেশনটা, ঠিক আছে, তাহলে ভমিটিং, নোসিয়া, কাফ রিফ্লেক্স, ঠিক আছে, অ্যান্ড ইভেন কার্ডিয়াক অ্যারেস্ট হয়। ওই জন্য যখন সিরিঞ্জিং করে এক্সটার্নাল অডিটরি মিয়েটাসের মধ্যে যে ইয়ার ওয়ার্কস অর দ্য সেরুমেন যখন ক্লিয়ার করতে হয়, তখন একটা বড় সিরিঞ্জের মধ্যে জল নিয়ে ফোর্সিবলি ওয়াটার পুশ করা হয়। ঠিক আছে? ইফ দ্যাট ওয়াটার ইজ ক্রিটিক্যালি অফ লো টেম্পারেচার, ঠিক আছে, তো লোকের কি হয়ে যাবে? কার্ডিয়াক অ্যারেস্ট হয়ে যায়। সেই জন্য কি করতে হয়? ওই জলটাকে একটু লিউকওয়ার্ম রাখতে হয়। কি রাখতে হয়? একটু লিউকওয়ার্ম রাখতে হয়। ঠিক আছে? মনে থাকবে, হিটার নেই, জল গরম নেই, আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, লোকের কি আর আছে, জল গরম করা হচ্ছে না, কি আছে, দে পাইপ দিয়ে ঢুকিয়ে, ঠিক আছে, ওয়ার্ক ক্লিয়ার করে দে। ঠিক আছে? তুই ওয়ার্কস ক্লিয়ার করে দিলি, ঠিক আছে, ভেগাস নার্ভ ওকে জগৎ থেকে ক্লিয়ার করে দিল। ঠিক আছে? So this is the Alderman's nerve. It enters via tympanomastoid fissure, লিখে রাখো, and mastoid canaliculus. ঠিক আছে? A cranial surface, root of the external ear, a cranial surface are floor and posterior part of a cranial surface, এইখানটাকে সাপ্লাই করে বাবু। ঠিক আছে? lower or posterior aspect of the external auditory meatus এইটাকে সাপ্লাই করে ঠিক আছে auricular branch of vagus হলো and part of tympanic membrane in the close vicinity হলো এই পর্যন্ত হয়েছে ঠিক আছে now the trunk this is the trunk 1 2 3 this is the pharyngeal branch cardiac branch একটা হচ্ছে কি বলে carotid আর একটা superior laryngeal ঠিক আছে branches to the number 2 branches to the carotid body and carotid sinus ঠিক আছে আর 3 নম্বর হচ্ছে তোমার superior laryngeal branch হচ্ছে তারপরে trunk আচ্ছা এই যে নেক রিজিয়নে এইটা এবারে এইটা ক্যারোটিড ছিল ঠিক আছে আর তাহলে এটা তখন কিন্তু ইন্টারনাল জুগুলার কি বলে ইন্টারনাল ক্যারোটিড আর্টারি ইন্টারনাল জুগুলার ভেইন ইন্টারনাল ক্যারোটিড আর্টারি মিডিয়াল ইন্টারনাল জুগুলার ভেইন ইজ ল্যাটারাল ঠিক আছে এর পেছন দিকে বিহাইন্ড বোথ অফ দেম ঠিক আছে আমার এটা নামছে ভেগাস নার্ভটা এর করে নামছে ঠিক আছে এই পর্যন্ত হয়েছে that accompanies provides guidance and takes the decision ঠিক আছে on behalf of a minor god ঠিক আছে তুমি যদি এটা আমাদের মধ্যে খুব একটা দেখা যায় না বাট মুসলিমদের মধ্যে তুমি দেখবে না কিন্তু মুসলিমদের মধ্যে দেখতে পাবে তোমরা ধরো একটা মেয়েকে তুমি আউটডোরে দেখাবে ঠিক আছে এখানে আমরা কি করি হ্যাঁ বাবা চললো মেয়ের হাত ধরে হ্যাঁ চললো বাবা চললো হ্যাঁ দাদা চললো কাকা চললো এটা মাইনর গার্ডের হাত ধরে ওপিডিতে নিয়ে যাওয়া এখানে নিয়ে করে মুসলিম সোসাইটিতে এটা হয় না ঠিক আছে সবসময় একজন অ্যাডাল্ট উইমেন একটা মাইনরকে নিয়ে এই সমস্ত যে বুঝতে পারছি যে প্রাইভেট ডিসিশন যেগুলো থাকে সেগুলোতে গাইড করে ওই মহিলাকে চ্যাপেরন বলে ঠিক আছে তোরা তো যাচ্ছে দেয় ওই মহিলাকে ওই অ্যাডাল্ট উইমেনকে কি বলে চ্যাপেরন বলে বুঝতে পেরেছিস যাই পরে বলবো তাহলে আমরা কতদূর এলাম ক্যারোটিড ছিদ পর্যন্ত এসেছি ঠিক আছে একটা পার্ট গেল হ্যাঁ ট্রাঙ্ক থেকে কিছু কার্ডিয়াক ব্রাঞ্চেস আসবে ঠিক আছে আর রিকারেন্ট ল্যারিঞ্জিয়াল ব্রাঞ্চ আসবে ট্রাঙ্ক থেকে কি আসবে কার্ডিয়াক ব্রাঞ্চেস এন্ড দ্য রিকারেন্ট ল্যারিঞ্জিয়াল ব্রাঞ্চেস এই দুটো ব্রাঞ্চ আসবে হচ্ছে ট্রাঙ্ক থেকে ঠিক আছে তাহলে ট্রাঙ্ক থেকে আমি দুটো ব্রাঞ্চ করলাম এখানে এখান থেকে আমি দেখবো যে আমার কার্ডিয়াক ব্রাঞ্চেস কিছু আসবে সুপিরিয়র এন্ড ইনফিরিয়র আর আসবে রিকারেন্ট ল্যারিঞ্জিয়াল বোথ সাইডে রিকারেন্ট ল্যারিঞ্জিয়াল ঠিক আছে বোথ সাইডে রিকারেন্ট ল্যারিঞ্জিয়াল ব্রাঞ্চ আর আসবে সব রিকারেন্ট ল্যারিঞ্জিয়াল উপরে আঁকলাম ঠিক আছে দেখ এখানকার রিকারেন্ট ল্যারিঞ্জিয়াল ব্রাঞ্চ আমি উপরে আঁকলাম এটা নিচে আনলাম কার্ডিয়াক ব্রাঞ্চ রাইট সাইডে কার্ডিয়াক ব্রাঞ্চেস এর নিচে আঁকলাম আর লেফট সাইডে কার্ডিয়াক ব্রাঞ্চেস এর উপরে আঁকলাম ডিফারেন্ট কোর্স আছে তাই না ডিফারেন্ট কোর্স আছে উল্টো হলো রাইট সাইডে উপরে দিয়ে দেবে, লেফট সাইডে নিচে দেবে, লেফট সাইডে 800 পাউটা লেভেলে দেবে। এটা সাবক্লেভিয়ান আর্টারি লেভেলে দেবে আর ওটা 800 পাউটা লেভেলে দেবে। হলো, এই পর্যন্ত হয়েছে ব্রাঞ্চিং প্যাটার্ন এন্ড দ্য কোর্স এই পর্যন্ত হয়েছে। আর কিছু লাগবে না, ঠিক আছে? বল, হ্যাঁ বলে দিচ্ছি। রাইট ভেগাস সাবক্লেভিয়ান আর্টারি আর রাইট কমন ক্যারোটিড আর্টারি, ঠিক আছে? তার পেছন দিয়ে আসছে আন্ডার সারফেস অফ রাইট সাবক্লেভিয়ান আর্টারি, তার তলা দিয়ে রেকারেন্ট ল্যারিঞ্জিয়াল নার্ভ উপরে উঠে চলে গেল, ঠিক আছে? নামটা নিচে নামছে বিহাইন্ড দ্য রাইট রুট ফর্মিং দ্য posterior pulmonary plexus, বেরিয়ে আসার পরে ইসোফেজিয়াল প্লেক্সাসে, ঠিক আছে? posterior ইসোফেজিয়াল প্লেক্সাসে সারাউন্ডিং দ্য ইসোফেগাস ব্রেক করে যাচ্ছে। লেফট ভেগাস, লেফট কমন ক্যারোটিড আর লেফট সাবক্লেভিয়ান আর্টারির মাঝখান দিয়ে আসছে সুপারফিশিয়ালি লেফট ফ্রেনিক, লেফট ফ্রেনিক ওগুলো পড়ে এইখানটা। পুরো জিনিসটা ক্রস থাকবে হচ্ছে তোর লেফট রেকিউসেফালিক ভেইন দিয়ে, ঠিক আছে? পুরো জিনিসটা এই সামনে দিয়ে উপরে লেফট রেকিউসেফালিক ভেইন, ঠিক আছে? এইখানে সুপারফিশিয়ালি, এখানে লেফট ফ্রেনিকটা ক্রস করছে, এই যে গ্রিন কালারে, ঠিক আছে। এইবারে ও যখন নামছে তখন অ্যান্টেরিয়র এন্ড লেফট সারফেস অফ দা আর্চ অফ অ্যাওর্টা দিয়ে নামছে, ওইখানে ও রিকারেন্ট ল্যারিঞ্জিয়াল নার্ভ দিচ্ছে ল্যাটারাল টু দা লিগামেন্টাম আর্টেরিওসাম, ঠিক আছে। এই যে এইটা হলো নামলো বিহাইন্ড দা লেফট রুট অফ লাং, হলো ওইখানে পসিপালমোনারি প্লেক্সাস করলো, নিচে নেমে ব্রেক করে গেল ইসোফেজিয়াল প্লেক্সাস, ঠিক আছে। সেখান থেকে লেফট গ্যাস্ট্রিক ট্রাঙ্ক, রাইট গ্যাস্ট্রিক ট্রাঙ্ক, লেফট গ্যাস্ট্রিক ট্রাঙ্ক, এই দুটো, এই যে ট্রাঙ্ক দুটো বলছি, এরা কিন্তু নট এক্স্যাক্টলি দ্য রাইট ভেগাস এন্ড লেফট ভেগাস। কেন না, প্লেক্সাস, ইসোফেজিয়াল প্লেক্সাস যখন তৈরি করেছে তখন দে হ্যাভ ইন্টারমিঙ্গল, ঠিক আছে। সেজন্য এই যে রাইট আর লেফট গ্যাস্ট্রিক ট্রাঙ্ক আসছে, এটা ইসোফেজিয়াল ওপেনিং দিয়ে, এরা ইসোফেজিয়াল ওপেনিং দিয়ে বেরিয়ে আসবে, এটা ইসোফেজিয়াল ওপেনিং, অ্যান্টিরিয়র গ্যাস্ট্রিক এন্ড পোস্টেরিয়র গ্যাস্ট্রিক ট্রাঙ্ক, ঠিক আছে। আর এইখানে লেফট গ্যাস্ট্রিকটা কি দেবে, এটা দিয়ে বেরিয়ে এখানে একটা সিলিয়াক ব্রাঞ্চ দেবে, এখানে একটা সিলিয়াক ব্রাঞ্চ দেবে, যেটা তোমার সমস্ত অ্যাবডোমিনাল অর্গানকে সাপ্লাই করবে। আর আপ টু দা মিডিয়াল 2/3 and lateral 1/3 of the transverse colon, ঠিক আছে, গাটে। আর এই যে এটা রাইট সাইডে নামলো, এটার একটা ব্রাঞ্চ হচ্ছে হেপাটিক, একটা গ্যাস্ট্রিক, ঠিক আছে। ছাড়, আর আর সময় নেই, পরে বলে দেবো, ঠিক আছে।
C1 equal to and we can find this one. One muscle is origin, hand-shaped muscle. Another muscle from the lower lunar tubercle, we can find. So this must be zero process and this is the zero higher. So the mandible, this is the higher order. So here what we get, so here the respective ribs and here we get sinus. Here we are getting an horizontal area with upward area. Okay. And here we are getting one sinus. So actually I want to impress that there is a division which divides, which is divided by a palate, the hard palate. Okay, this is the hard palate, and the posterior one is considered as the soft palate, which divides the whole thing. That is that when the partition was not present during our embryonic stage, because the whole thing were nasal cavity and oral cavity was a single entity. Now we can, when there is the development of partition from either side of the maxillary process, okay, we get the partition which is nothing but the hard palate and the soft palate. We will discuss the soft palate after the lunch. Okay. Now, this is the nasal cavity. Nasal cavity has got root and flow, and there is a lateral wall. On the lateral wall, we find there are three elevations. Actually, these elevations are nothing but the actually projection of bones which are covered by the mucous membrane. What we can see here. So these bones are actually they are called superior concha, middle concha, and the inferior concha. So we can find this is the inferior, this is the middle, and this is the superior. Okay, so this forms the lateral boundary, and medially we get a septum. Okay. Now we should actually see what are the bones or what are the structures forming the different walls. Actually, the nasal cavity is being divided by a septum into two halves. That is the nasal septum, which is partly conic, partly. We can find it here. We will show it. Okay. So that is the nasal septum. On either side, so there is a roof. This is the roof. This is the floor. And there is the communication with outside. Okay. There is the communication with outside. And there is the communication here. So this communication outside is called the anterior nares. This communication is the anterior nares. Also, this bone is called the sphenoid bone. This is the body of the sphenoid. Okay. You know that the body of the sphenoid also formed. You can see the body of the sphenoid where we get a ear inside. This is the sphenoidal ear sinus. Then this part belongs to both bones. Half belongs to sphenoid and half belongs to occipital. Okay. So that is the and so sphenoid also body of the sphenoid and also the part of the brain. Now about the floor. Floor is by heart palate floor. You can see this is the floor. Okay. There is something behind it. There is the muscular part. This is the soft palate. So ultimately this is the floor. Now, most interesting feature is the lateral. We can find so many things in the lateral one. But these are actually two pieces of a same bone. That is nothing but the ethmoid. It is a part of the ethmoid. Actually, ethmoid bone, you can imagine, it is a double drawer table. You can imagine there are two sets of drawers on either side of a table, and in the middle there is a plate, perpendicular plate. That perpendicular plate actually forms the part of the epicenter. And on either side, the drawers are nothing but the ear sinuses. Okay. Actually, they are the projections from the ethmoid. First, superior and inferior. And inferior one is a single piece of bone. Okay. The inferior one, you can see This is the inferior concha is a single piece of bone. Single piece of bone. When this bone is covered with the mucus, so this single piece of bone, that is the inferior concha. আর উপরে শুধু ফেটে গেছে। So and when they are covered with mucous membrane, they are called the turbinates. Turbinates. And just below of each and every turbinate, we get some opening, and we call them meatus. Meatus. Like this is the superior, below superior is the superior meatus, below middle one is the middle meatus, below inferior is the inferior meatus. Actually, these are the meatus are openings. Actually, they are opening of the paranasal, different paranasal sinuses. What are the paranasal sinus? Actually, the mucous membrane, there is outpouching of the mucous membrane of inferior meatus is for opening of the nasolacrimal duct. Now, in the middle meatus, what we can see in the middle meatus, if we open, first we can see this type of an area. Okay. Where we can find some opening. And this is the bulge. There is a bulging. We can find a bulge area. And this bulge area is called the bulla. Bulla ethmoidalis. Okay. And below, then we can find a semilunar opening. This is called the hiatus semilunaris. Hiatus semilunaris. And within the hiatus semilunaris, we can get two openings. Within the hiatus semilunaris, we will get two openings. One opening will go upwards. Okay. And it will form a bulge area. It is inside. So I have given with the dotted lines. This is called the infundibula. Okay. Where here we are getting the frontal sinus. The frontal sinus will open. Through a duct. Frontal sinus will open inside the infundibula. Okay. So ultimately frontal sinus will open into here and ultimately open into the this hiatus semilunaris. Right? It will open into here. And it will open here. And another is coming, another tube which is coming from the anterior tube of ethmoidal cell. Another is coming from the anterior ethmoidal cells. Within the base, there are three partitions. One is anterior, one is on either side of the table. There are drawers, and within the drawer, if we go inside, this is the maxillary air sinus. maxillary ascendis. And you can find the apex is direct, the base is directed here, and apex is directed at the zygomatic root. Okay. And it has got roof, it has got floor. Okay. Roof is formed by this orbital plane. Roof is a part of the orbital plane, which is formed by the maxilla. Flow by the, we can find, this is the alveolar process. So inside we will get the flow. This is the flow. Okay. The floor, and we can find floor is just below the floor of the nasal cavity. Floor is a deep seated, and it is below around 1.25 centimeter below the floor of the nasal cavity. So secretions, if the secretions are pent up within this cavity, it will not be very easier to remove, because it gets the dependent part, and it will get, because due to gravity it will settle down to the lower part. So in that case, what we do, what a sinus wash, luminous sinus wash, what we do, we actually remove, break open the meatus, okay, and we take out all the secretions here, and we clear that one, because maxillary sinusitis is very common, and there the secretion gets pent up because the flow is at a deeper level. Maxillary ascites. Now about the, and this is the bulla, and within the bulla we can find some opening. These are opening of the ultimately the opening of the, this was the item. This was the anterior ethmoidal sinus. This is the medial ethmoidal air. The anterior term of the now middle will open into the nulla ethmoidalis. Now in the superior meatus we can find another opening, and this opening is for this is for the posterior. It will open into the posterior ethmoidal cells. So that opening will lead to the posterior group of posterior. How does the anterior relate to the posterior? So posterior group of air cells will open into the superior meatus. Okay. And this part is this area is called the sphenoethmoidal recess, because this part, the part above the superior meatus is called the sphenoethmoidal recess. Sphenoethmoidal recess, because they are definitely the sphenoid air cell will open sometimes, the posterior lobe may open into this area. Okay, so this is called sphenoethmoidal recess. Sphenoethmoidal recess. ঠিক আছে? এটাই বা কিরকম? So it will come down from the ethmoid. That is the perpendicular plate of the ethmoid. Okay. This is the perpendicular plate of the ethmoid. Okay. So, after this, এই জায়গার মধ্যে কোন জায়গাটা দিয়ে দিলে সুবিধা হবে। তোমাকে তো লাগতে হবে। এটা হচ্ছে A. So this is the upper part is this is for the sphenoidal rostrum. Sphenoidal rostrum দেখেছো? ওনার দেখেছো? Articulate with the frontal spine. A nasal spine of the frontal lobe and the nasal lobe. Clear? Below we will get Omar. Omar bolo to. Yeah. And in front of the Bhumar, we will get this is bony, but this is cartilage. And also there is another cartilage. Which is the most mobile part of the septum. Small cartilage is there. Okay, small cartilage is there. This is septum mobile nasal. Septum mobile nasal. So this is the nasal cartilage. Okay. And there is also nasal cartilage, but it is very much mobile. Septum mobile. Then what is septum? Mobile. Okay. Now about the blood supply of this area. Very important. From above, the anterior ethmoidal artery is coming down, which is nothing but the continuation of the ophthalmic artery. Ophthalmic artery within the orbit, it gives anterior and posterior ethmoidal branches, and it comes out through the anterior and posterior ethmoidal foramen. There are foramens in the orbit. They are coming out, and again they are going inside the cranial cavity and ultimately resides over the iliac plate, and from there the anterior ethmoidal artery is coming down, and definitely with the anterior ethmoidal artery and the veins. From posterior aspects, আচ্ছা এখানের মধ্যে কি আছে ফার্স্ট আমার কার উপরে দাঁড়িয়ে আছে it is definitely over the artery and তারপরে সব প্যারেট আছে প্যারেটের উপরে আছে ওকে now one artery is coming from above, that is the ethmoidal, and one artery is coming Palatine artery. Another artery is coming. This is the artery of the pterygoid canal. This, all these arterial, the branches of the maxillary, third part of the maxillary. And this is from the ophthalmic artery. আবার একটা artery যাবে এখানে আসছে প্যালেটের এখানে will perforate the palate and will enter inside the nasal cavity. This is the greater palatine artery. Anterior ethmoidal, short and long sphenopalatine artery of the pterygoid canal, and another is the greater palatine. They are all the branches of the third part of the maxillary artery. Maxillary artery has got three parts divided by the lateral pterygoid muscle. That artery may enter either deep to the lateral pterygoid or superficial to the pterygoid. And before entering, this is the first part. Within the lateral pterygoid is the second part. When it comes out of the lateral pterygoid is the third part. Third part is the pterygoid. On the first part, how many branches? Five branches. Follow. Five branches.
Meningeal, external meningeal, external auditory,
internal.
deep temporal,
and
ফার্স্টটাই তো বলছি কি বলি
anterior pituitary করতে হবে
ডিপ temporal,
Meningeal, external, আর একটা আই দিয়ে ইন্ট্রাটেম্পোরাল নাকি সেকেন্ড পার্ট থেকে
ওই দুটো পরপরই
নিচে থেকে যাচ্ছে
ইন্ট্রাইমিডিয়েট অরবিটাল মানে ইমিডিয়েট
কি আছে তো আছে তো তাদের পর কি আছে
মানি আছে
So from here another artery will come out. Another artery is coming out. The superior labial branch of facial artery. তাহলে this is an area in the septal cartilage which is very much vascular. If you try to poke your, if you try to like here the like here the foreign bodies is present here. If you want to clear the foreign bodies, you can have it this area. This is the this is called the leaking side. This is called the leaking area of hemorrhage. This area of hemorrhage. Okay. Either or by the hypertension. In the old patient, due to the rupture of, there might be rupture of these vessels. In hypertension, old vessels. It follows, we know there is a territory. Palatine fossa. There is a fossa infratemporal region, palatine fossa. In the pterygoid process, and there is the maxillary. This is called the pterygomaxillary palatine fossa. Dagger shaped area. This is the dagger shaped area. This is the dagger shaped area. This is the area where we get the pterygopalatine fossa, where we get the pterygopalatine ganglia. Actually, the pterygopalatine ganglia is hanging from the maxillary nerve, but anatomically it belongs to maxillary nerve, but functionally it is the and ultimately we get the margin of the maxillary. Then again, economic after power. Similarly, this is the data palatine. Okay. So ultimately we are getting the supply. And similarly we are also getting the supply here. Okay. And ever asking part just above this area we can find so many hairs, which is called this area is called the vestibule. The next part is called the atrium. Next part is called the atrium, and atrium is lying above by another elevation. Agarnazi. তিনটে কথা মনে রাখো। Okay. The vestibule, atrium. Actually, atrium is formed by the part of the medial surface of the maxilla, and above there is the elevation which is called the agarnazi. Okay. And what is the lining epithelium? Lining epithelium over the vestibule. Vestibule means any opening. Vestibule. There should be, there is always wear and tear. Okay, so it's a stratified squamous epithelium. And here we will put the hairs, coats here. You know, to capture the foreign bodies. Next, we are getting this area. This is the respiratory zone. Okay. মানে এয়ার এখানে ঢুকবে, তাই না? এখানে এয়ার যাচ্ছে, এয়ার ঢুকবে, তো and ultimately এয়ার will go inside, will pass to the omni, will enter into the oropharynx, then ultimately larynx. Okay. So this area is the respiratory zone. Respiratory zone is always covered by respiratory epithelium. That means ciliated columnar epithelium. And এখানে olfactory zone, the roof, horizontal roof, and also a part of the lateral and medial wall of the nasal cavity. 10 millimeter minor side, we will get the olfactory epithelium, bipolar cells. মনে পড়ছে কিছু পড়ানো হয়েছে হয়েছে
হ্যাঁ
অল্প একটু
স্কিপ করে ফিফথ না
কি কজে তিনটে ভাগ হলো হেপাটিক হেপাটিক পোস্ট হেপাটিক বা অবস্ট্রাকটিভ হেপাটিক কজ কি কি কারণে হতে পারে সিরোসিস তো ঠিক আছে হতে পারে আর হ্যাঁ ভাইরাল হেপাটাইটিস ঠিক আছে হ্যাঁ ক্যান্সার ক্যান্সার কি আর কি? ঠিক আছে এবার বল তুই বল না বল আর অ্যালকোহল ইউজ আর যেমন হতে পারে অ্যাসিড আর হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে তাহলে ভাইরাসের জন্য হতে পারে হেপাটোটক্সিক ড্রাগের জন্য হতে পারে ক্লোরোফর্ম আছে কিছু কিছু মাশরুম আছে মাশরুম পয়জন সেগুলোর জন্য হেপাটাইটিস হতে পারে হেপাটাইটিস থেকে জন্ডিস হবে ঠিক আছে ওই সময়
सर वॉलस्टोन
वही तो मैं पूछने वाला वॉलस्टोन कहाँ से आ गया
सर
हाँ
वॉल्स
वॉल्स तो गलत है वॉल्स के बारे में मैंने कहाँ पूछा अरे पूछने वाला अभी बता वॉल्स के बारे में कौन से आएगा
वॉलस्टोन is the obstruction of the
वॉलस्टोन किसी किसी का होता है तो जब तक मतलब मर भी जाए तो वो भी फर्क नहीं तब कब होगा
the obstruction of the
ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन कहाँ होता है
bile source hepatic common bile
कॉमन पाएंगे हाँ
hepatic
हेपेटिक का मतलब कौन सा
common bile
कॉमन पाएंगे अगर वहाँ पर स्टोन अटक जाएगा तो ही ना ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन होगा नहीं तो साइड से तो निकल जाएगा ना उसके बाद एक हो गया स्टोन दूसरा
दूसरा प्रेगनेंसी
हो सकता है मैं वो ऑब्स्ट्रक्टिव होगा क्या ठीक है हाँ हो सकता है
वायरल
वायरल मींस कैसे होगा वो तो हेपाटिक मींस है মাত্রা এরা কি বলতো তো একটা পয়েন্ট বলেছে যে অলস্টোন সেটার জন্য অবস্ট্রাকশন হচ্ছে আর পোস্ট হেপাটিক কজ কি আছে হেপাটিক টিউমার হেপাটিক টিউমার হ্যাঁ যাই টিউমার টিউমার ম্যালিগনেন্ট ক্যান্সার হেপাটিক টিউমারটা কোথায় হচ্ছে তার উপর ডিপেন্ড তাহলে হেপাটিক টিউমারটা ডাইরেক্টলি না বলাই না আর কি কাজ হবে স্টোন ছাড়া
Congenital diseases and having of common bile.
congenital সেটাতে যেমন বাইল ডাক্টের স্ক্লেরোসিস মানে কি ঠিক হয়ে বাইলটা কম হয়ে যায়। সেই ক্ষেত্রে হতে পারে আর কি হতে পারে প্যানক্রিয়াস নিয়ে তোমরা কি এটা বলছিল না হ্যাঁ মানে সেটা না জেনে বলছি জেনে বললে তুমি বলবে প্যানক্রিয়াসের সাথে জন্ডিসের কোনো রিলেশন আছে Bile formation. What? What is the role of pancreas in the causation of jaundice?
head of pancreas কোনো টিউমার বা কার্সিনোমা
এই প্যানক্রিয়াসের মানে টিউমার হয় বা ক্যান্সার সেটা ভিতরে একটা বলা ঠিক না প্যানক্রিয়াস তাহলে কি হবে প্যানক্রিয়াসের যে কাটটা গেছে তাহলে কাটটা ক্লোজ হয়ে যাবে তাহলে আমরা তিন রকমের দেখলাম যে প্রি হেপাটিক হেপাটিক আর পোস্ট হেপাটিক আর নাম দিয়ে দিয়ে কিছু জন্ডিসের নাম মানে টাইপস অফ জন্ডিস মানে সায়েন্টিস্টের নাম দিয়ে বা কোনো ফ্যামিলির নাম দিয়ে ঠিক আছে সেই নামগুলো থেকে বলতে হবে তুই যারা বলছিলি গিলবার্ট বললি সেটা কি বলতে হবে
সেটা মানে কন্ডিশন যেখানে একটা সার্টেন এনজাইম থাকে যার জন্য একটা সার্টেন জিন থাকে যার জন্য ইউবিবি গ্লুকোনিল ট্রান্সফারেজটা ডেফিসিয়েন্সি দেখা যায় তাই জন্য হাইপার বিলিরুবিনিয়া
হাইপার বিলিরুবিনিয়া তো প্রত্যেকটাতেই না হলে জন্ডিস হবে ঠিক আছে যতক্ষণ না ওটা 2 মিলিগ্রাম পার ডিএল বা 2.5 মিলিগ্রাম পার ডিএল এর উপরে যাচ্ছে ততক্ষণ জন্ডিস হবে কিন্তু সেটা গিলবার্টটা তুমি এটা কোথা থেকে করছো বলে বলছো না কোথা থেকে
স্যার নর্মাল সেক্রেটারি
সেই নামটা আছে সত্যনারায়ণ দেওয়া যে এনজাইমের ডেফিসিয়েন্সি বা এনজাইমের ডিফেক্ট
স্যার ডেফিসিয়েন্সি দেওয়া ছিল যে গ্লুকোনিল ট্রান্সফারেজটা ডেফিসিয়েন্সির জন্য এটা
এটাই বলছি তাহলে বলে বলছো
হ্যাঁ স্যার
বই আছে তোমার কাছে
বই আছে
সত্যনারায়ণ আছে কেন আছে হ্যাঁ তাহলে গিলবার্ট is wrong. Sima. ये जॉन्डिस तो है जॉन्डिस ही हम डिस्कस करते हैं एबोमिनेशन है हेरिटेड होता है ऐसा कोई कॉन्जेनिटल बचपन से তুমি কি হচ্ছে অ্যালুমিনেশন কি লিভার প্রথম শুনলে না ওই স্যার ওদের নাম কিনা আছে কয়েকটা নাম তো বলো ও একটা বললো ও তার নাম একটা বললো আর কি নাম আছে রুবিন জনসন আর কিছু নামগুলো বলে আর কি আছে নিওনেটাল জন্ডিস ও নামে খুলো ওগুলো নিওনেটালটা আলাদা নিওনেটাল জন্ডিস কি বলতে পারবো নিওনেটাল জন্ডিস দু রকমের হয় এটা ফিজিওলজিক্যাল একটা প্যাথোলজি আমি জানতে চাই যে ফিজিওলজি
liver cell the smaller size dysfunction of liver
ডিসফাংশনাল লিভার এটা সবাইই হচ্ছে ডিসফাংশনাল
কি বলছো?
প্যাটোসাইটস গুলো ফর্ম করেছে, আরেকটা কিছু ঠিক করে ফর্ম করে তার জন্য কোন এনজাইমটা নাকি কাজ করছে। এনজাইমটা ইউরোবিলিনোজেন ফিগার ইউরোবিলিন। হ্যাঁ, মানে ইউরিন আর ফিগার ম্যাটারে ইউরোবিলিনোজেন আর ব্লাড আর ইউরিনের বিলিরুবিন।
So serum, urine, fecal and urine.
Serum bilirubin, first point. Second, urine bilirubin. Third point, urine urobilinogen. Fourth point, fecal urobilinogen. এটা সাইডে লিখেছো আর উপরের তিনটে হেপাটিক না হেপাটিক হেপাটিক পোস্ট হেপাটিক। এই তিনটে এবার ডিফারেন্সিয়েট কোনটাতে বাড়বে, কোনটাতে কমবে, কোনটাতে অ্যাবসেন্ট হবে, কোনটাতে প্রেজেন্ট হবে, সেই হচ্ছে। तुम तो लिख नहीं पाओगे, तुम मुझे समझाओगे तुम इधर आओ। आओ तुम तो डायरेक्टली बताओगे ना, देख कर कहाँ से बोलोगे, नेट पे कोशिश करो, मिल सकता है। मगर नेट में तो तुम मतलब मुझे समझा नहीं पाओगे ना, उसमें सिर्फ अगर चार्ट में दिया हुआ हो ये कम हो रहा है ये बढ़ रहा है, तो मुझे समझाना होगा ना क्यों हो रहा है।
So I allow you to do this discussion among yourselves in your free time. What is the definition of sleep? So before we start sleep, I think it is better if we talk about EEG. Electroencephalogram. Just like every cycle of cardiac activity causes some electrical potential changes in potential difference on the body surface, not on the surface of the heart only, but on the body surface also. Similarly, some electrical potential changes occur in the brain, and that is reflected on the body surface. Here also, if we put some electrodes mostly around the head, but from the outside, we will get a recording. And if we use a very powerful galvanometer, we can record the electrical potential changes, and that record will be called electroencephalography, or electroencephalogram is the name of the recording. Electroencephalography is the name of the process by which an electroencephalogram is produced. It was difficult, much more difficult than electrocardiogram to record an electroencephalogram because the voltage is much lesser. In case of brain electrical activities, the voltage outside of the body surface is much lesser. Actually, you all know ECG, and you know the potential differences produced by the heart is in millivolt. 10 to the power minus 3 volt. Here it is microvolt. 10 to the power 6 microvolt is equal to 1 volt. Or 1 microvolt is equal to 10 to the power minus 6 volt. And that is millivolt 10 to the power minus 3 volt. So much smaller, 1000 times less. So difficult to produce, so you have to use a much powerful galvanometer, recording galvanometer of course, and that is much costlier also. Not like ECG machine, you can buy from between 20,000 to 50,000, you can buy a good ECG machine, but it will be more than lakhs if you want to buy a EEG machine. Now if we take this, there is a story, the story of Hans Berger, who is the father of electroencephalography. Because it was discovered by, the process was invented by Hans Berger, so people used to call it Berger's waves. The EEG waves, people used to call Berger's waves. I remember once in an exam I found one examiner is asking the student, what is Berger's waves? Anyway, I have never asked this because I have learned the question, I may ask also. So don't get confused. The Berger's wave means simply EEG. Now Hans Berger, in his early life, he joined the army, military. So he became a military officer, and while he was a trainee, he, in those days, even now also I think, I am not very sure, even now also, whether in police service or in army service, you have to learn horse riding. Somehow or other it is a thought, an idea among the persons still that if you know how to control a horse, you will know how to control a mob. So it is taught. Still now it is being taught. In older days, there was no vehicle except the horse. First vehicle means horse. But still now, even today, horse riding is compulsory for military, army, police, all these trainings. Now, while he was doing this horse riding training, one horse somehow or other, either he was or it became mad. And he was not alert. And one mad horse wanted to trample him. He would have died probably by this trampling. At that moment, a very efficient and very senior horse rider, he came very fast. He caught the thread of the rope of the horse, and by his tactfulness, he somehow managed to keep Hans Berger away from the injury. It could be death also. So Hans Berger was very much alarmed and very much afraid of this. He almost lost his senses because he thought it is the last moment of his life. The horse was about to trample on his abdomen, and then he was caught. That moment he was caught by the horse rider and he was saved. The same day, he got a telegram. He got a telegram from his father, who was many miles away from the army training camp. How are you now? Are you okay? So he had a strange feeling. How could my father know that I was about to go into such a big accident? Are you listening to me?
You may not listen, it will not come in the exam, but still I am telling you. And when you went back home, because the father wrote it, you come back home immediately. So he went back home after 2 or 3 days. Then his father said that his younger sister, she told her father that Hansberger's life is in danger. That is why he sent the telegram, how are you? Let me know, are you okay? Come home immediately. And then Hansberger became very much thoughtful. Why it happened and how it happened. How my sister knew that my life was in danger for a moment. And he knew, people used to call that, even now, to say, this is telepathy. By way of telepathy, people get this information. What is happening in, so if he loves him very much, then about him he gets information that something is happening or something has happened. And he gave up his army service, came back home and told his father, I want to learn human physiology. What is the basis of telepathy? He entered the medicine curriculum. It was not that easy. NEET was a bit easier than those days, I think. Particularly in Germany, where Hansberger was. So he got admitted in the medical course and started learning physiology, neurology and psychiatry in particular. Later he specialized in psychiatry. And he thought some electrical waves might be coming out of our brain. And that waves go far away, miles apart, and make somebody else alert that what is happening is in this brain. He will know. So he started learning, and he found there is nothing like that. In physiology, no such experiments exist. So he started doing his own experiment. He prepared some very powerful galvanometers together with a physicist. Very powerful galvanometers which can measure even microvolts. And with that he found really voltages come out, potential differences are produced on the surface of the body from the brain as a result of the activities in the brain. And he prepared the apparatus called electroencephalograph and started doing EEG. Unfortunately, still now, this has not given any clue to what telepathy is. But interestingly, this invention became a great invention in medicine, because still now it is probably the only investigation to diagnose epilepsy. Even after so many inventions of CT scan, MRI scan, PET scan, etc., etc., for the diagnosis of EEG, the most reliable and the most powerful machine is EEG. And for that reason, even today, it is in the physiology, medicine and neurology syllabus of NMC or any board whatsoever throughout this world. So his invention was, fell flat for the detection of the mechanism of telepathy, but it did a real invention for diagnosis of a very important disease, which is not at all infrequent. It is quite frequent. The seizure disorders, convulsions, epilepsy. Even for this brain tumor, even a few years back, it was when we were medical students, even many years after that, it was the only investigation for diagnosing brain tumor, brain hemorrhages also. But now there is CT scan, then MRI scan. With those we can diagnose brain tumors, but not EEG. If you have an epilepsy, you won't get anything new in the CT scan or MRI scan. But an EEG will tell you whether he has epilepsy or not. So, he found that 4 types of waves are found. Waves produced in the EEG, just like PQRST in ECG, there are types of waves, not exactly like PQRST, but types of, I call them not alpha, beta, etc., but in a rhythm. There is delta, theta, alpha, beta. There are 4 types of EEG waves. Electrodes are placed, metallic electrodes are on and around the skull. There are some special points. So, how they are differentiated, delta or theta or alpha or beta, that is by their frequency. Any wave, they have a frequency and an amplitude, whether it is sound wave or light wave, electromagnetic wave, anything. Here also frequency, magnitude. What is the unit of frequency? Hertz. HERTZ or simply HZ. That means how many waves are coming in 1 second. Any sine wave. Any wave like this. How many waves are coming in 1 second? That is called hertz. If it is 0.5 to 8 to 4, hertz. You can close your eyes and say it is delta wave. Very slow wave. A little less slower, a little more, less slower, yes. Hertz a little bit more. 4 to 8 hertz. It is theta. That is why I don't say alpha, beta, I say delta, theta, alpha, beta. Remember like this. From lower frequency to higher frequency. If it is 8 to 13, alpha. More than 13, hertz beta. Please write this chart, because unfortunately in books here it is given something, there it is a very confusing one. So I have made it simplified. Delta, theta, alpha, beta, from slow waves to rapid waves. Right now if you do an EEG on me, it will show beta waves. All waves are beta waves. I think for you except a few who are yawning or closing eyes, it may be alpha. Somebody sometimes meditates in the class, close eyes and meditates, whether there is God or no God, what is a soul, what is consciousness, then it will go to alpha. But right now, for me at least, it is beta. The more activity, more the frequency. And amplitude, least frequency, highest amplitude. Hundred, 50 to 200. This is definitely the voltage. And as I said, the unit is in microvolt, not like millivolts. Mu V, microvolt, 150 to 200. See, in physiology, sometimes it may be a little bit less or more. Physiology is not like physics. Even physics, if you do a very intricate experiment, if you take a piece of stone and just take the mass or weight of it, the more sensitive the weighing machine is, if a very ordinary weighing machine, 2 kilos. The fishermen use those machines, 2 kilos. If you take it a little better machine, it may be 1.5 kilo. But the fisherman says 2 kilos, 300 rupees per kilo, 600. So you pay 600. But if you take a better machine, it will be 1.5 kg. It may be 1.75 kg. It may be 1.4 kg. So here in physiology, we use the most delicate instruments, so it varies. Theta, frequency a little more, amplitude a little less. Amplitude quarter less. Alpha. Frequency even more. And beta is 5. Beta is much less. Amplitude is much less. You are closing your eyes, meditating. You will find amplitude is 50 to 100 alpha wave. The moment you open your eyes, are you sleeping? The moment you open your eyes, it goes above 50. Shock. In a jiffy, not even in a second. In a jiffy, it will go from 10 to 50. Most of the time when we are awake, not most of the time, all the time when we are awake, our EEG will show beta waves. If you want to do a good EEG for any diagnosis, you should always go for sleep EEG also. So we used to do, while I was in Vellore, I found there, people say, get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. People means the EEG technician will instruct the previous day. When you pay the money and you want to do the EEG tomorrow, he said, get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Don't sleep again. Don't lie down also. The moment you lie down, you will have a tendency to sleep. So don't lie down. Don't take tea. I won't lie down, but I will take tea. No. When you go to do EEG at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning, invariably the patient will go to sleep. If you are the patient, you will go to sleep. So you will get both awake EEG and sleep EEG. And sleep EEG is the best way to get waves to diagnose any, because otherwise if you are awake all the time, you will get only beta, beta and beta. If you close your eyes and meditate, you will get alpha. But for getting delta, getting theta even, you will have to sleep. Only during sleep you will get. Now, so what is beta wave? We all know. Frequency is very high, amplitude is very low. Very frequency is very high. What did I do? Anyway. This is the beta. Frequency is very high, amplitude is very low. Alpha, frequency little less, quite less, amplitude is taller. Micro voltage is more. So beta wave, when you are awake. I will tell you a little later. During sleep also, you may find beta wave. Beta wave. When? I will talk about that a little later. And alpha wave we will find in while you are not asleep, you are awake, or you are just dozing, going to sleep, which you do in the class very often, particularly boarding classes like me. You will go into alpha wave very easily. So, but one important point about alpha wave, you must close your eyes. People say, some various people, that when you are awake, you can do meditation. How can we do meditation? If you concentrate. But the EEG and physiology, our physiological knowledge does not say so. It says, if you want, there are so many books written, whether true or false, I don't know. But lots of books, lots of papers, lots of lectures, lots of YouTubes, you will find on alpha waves. People say when you are deeply meditating something, so all great inventions come from the alpha waves. It may be true, it may not be 100% true, but people say, as I said, lots of books and papers and YouTubes you will find and lectures, podcasts you will find on alpha waves and alpha waves. Because theta you are deeply asleep, delta you are deeply asleep, so you cannot create anything new. But your mind is calm and cool, but you are awake. Then only you can create new things. Whether you are composing good music or you are writing a good research paper, you have to be in alpha wave. But remember, the more you try to focus, I will focus on the rising sun. Some people think this is a very good way of meditation. But physiology says the opposite. The more you focus, the more alpha wave tries to escape, go away. and beta wave comes. But if you keep your mind loose, Swami Vivekananda said, the method of meditation, he has many books on meditation, and he said, he said his way of meditating is, you close your eyes, let any thought come to you. Don't try to obstruct your thought, and don't try to focus on one point. Let all thoughts come to you. You just watch it like a viewer, not a doer. You are not doing these thoughts. You are not thinking. But thoughts are coming into your mind. Let them come. Your viewer mind will just see which thought is coming, which thought is going on. Okay. So these are about the EEG waves. This is the Hans Berger's wave, and how he came to these findings. Now let us go to sleep. Oh, enough time. As I told you in my initial lectures on neurophysiology, we had a talk on reticular activating system, RAS. There are some nuclei, that means clusters of nerve cells throughout the brain stem. In the midbrain, in the pons, in the medulla oblongata. These three together constitute the brain stem. So throughout the brain stem, midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. Here the spinal cord begins. Midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. Throughout the brain stem, there are scattered nuclei, collections or clusters of nerve cells. These are all clusters of nerve cells or nuclei. Nuclei means clusters of nerve cells which stay together, perform the same functions. And they constitute, together they are called reticular nuclei or reticular activating system. What happens? Whatever sensory fibers come, they may be pain fibers, they may be touch fibers, they may be pressure fibers, whatever fibers come, almost all of them go to the thalamus, and before going to the thalamus, in the brainstem, they give some tweaks. To the reticular nuclei or reticular activating system. Like this. So all ascending sensory fibers give a tweak to the reticular nuclei. As long as they give this reticular nuclei now, through the thalamus, they go to the cerebral cortex and keeps our consciousness awake. When the reticular nuclei are tired, tired means their neurotransmitters are finished, then they cannot work. Then they cannot stimulate the cerebral cortex. The person gets asleep. Person gets asleep means reticular nuclei can no longer send stimuli to the cerebral cortex. Why they cannot? Because the neurotransmitters are depleted. So when you sleep, the neurotransmitters are resynthesized and then the reticular nuclei are able to. But if you give a very strong stimulus, like Kumbhakarna is sleeping, you cannot awake him easily. But if you big trumpets, hit him with rods and etc., pins, soap, liters and liters of cold water on his face, etc. So that vigorous stimuli will now be able to elicit stimulus to the cerebral cortex and Kumbhakarna will get awake. So some people also sleep like Kumbhakarna. So in order to awake them, you have to use the liters of cold water and beating with rods and beating drums in a very loud way. Some people, even a mosquito does this humming, the person gets awake. Mosquitoes are bothering me. But some people will not get up even at the sounds of crackers. So that is sleep state and awake state or wakefulness state. Now this sleep state has several stages. The two principal stages are called NREM sleep state and REM sleep. Sleep is of two types, two stages. One is called NREM, another is called REM. REM is nothing but rapid eye movement. Person is sleeping, but if somebody else is observing him or her, he will find that the eyeballs are moving, which you can see even with the closed eyelid. The eyelids are closed, but still you will be able to see that something is moving beneath it or behind it. The eyeballs are moving. So this is called rapid, and very rapidly. This is called rapid eye movement sleep. And it is a 25% of the total sleep hours. If the total sleep hours is usually 6 to 8 hours, some people sleep less, 5 hours, 4 hours. When I was a young boy, 18 years old, like you, I read a book written by Swami Pranavananda, who started this Bharat Sevasam Sangha. And this Pranavananda's book, in that he said, sleeping more than 3 hours a day is a sin, is wastage of valuable time and is a sin. But nowadays people say that you should sleep at least 6 hours a day. 6 hours is taken as a very standard time to get asleep. So instead of following Pranavananda, I dare not say Pranavananda was wrong, but maybe this way of lifestyle, for that 3 hours is enough. But for you or me or people like us, 6 hours is the standard. Maybe 5 hours, but not less than that. So these 6 hours, 4 hours and a half, NREM sleep, non-rapid eye movement sleep, and 1 hour and a half the rapid eye movement sleep. And during this REM sleep phase, there is beta wave. Even if the person is fast asleep, and this is the time when a person dreams. This is the time when a person dreams. So what are the different phases of sleep? First, NREM. Sleep starts with NREM, then it goes into REM. Then again NREM, again REM. Or you will get up. You have to get up also sometimes. These are 4 stages of NREM. First stage, second stage, third stage, and fourth stage. REM sleep had no stage. It is already very small compared to the NREM phase. REM phase is already very short. So it does not have further stages. But NREM sleep, non-rapid eye movement sleep, has 4 stages. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. What is stage 1? That is the first stage of sleep. The moment you go to sleep, your eyes close, and alpha wave starts. So many of you, even at this moment, may be in the first stage of sleep. First stage of NREM sleep. Just look behind and see how many are in the first stage of NREM sleep. Don't awake him, otherwise he will go into beta waves. So first stage is alpha wave. Stage 1 is these are all phases of NREM. Stages of NREM. First stage, second stage, third stage. First stage, we just dose in all alpha. Only alpha waves you will find. Then we go into second stage, stage 2 of NREM sleep. There also you will have alpha wave. But there is a difference. The alpha wave is interspersed. That means in between comes 2 things which you will not find in stage 1. And these 2 things are sleep spindle and K complex. Alpha wave plus sleep spindle plus K complex. So this is alpha wave. Eight to 13, 50 to 100. 8 to 13 is the frequency hertz and 50 to 100 is the amplitude, microvolts. Then you will find suddenly spindle shaped group of waves. It first increases gradually and decreases gradually. Gradually does not mean slowly, but gradually means one after another. That is very fast. Increases, makes a spindle shaped wave. Spindle shaped wave. This is called sleep spindles. So alpha wave plus interspersed between the standard alpha wave. We take a long EEG, you will find alpha wave plus sleep spindles plus complex. What is K complex? 1 alpha. It suddenly one like this. Again. This is called K complex. So stage 2, again alpha wave, but it is interspersed with occasional slip spindles and K complex. K complex. K complex, slip spindle. This is slip spindle. K complex. Now what is the third stage? Very easy. Theta waves, 4 to 8 frequency, 4 to 8 hertz frequency, 100 to 150 microvolt amplitude. Theta waves. Throughout the third stage, theta waves. And throughout the fourth stage, delta waves, predominantly delta. The lowest frequency, 0.5 to 4 hertz, highest amplitude, going even up to 200 microvolts. That's all. Very easy to tell the stages of sleep. First NREM. NREM phase has 4 stages. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. Then REM. What do you find in REM sleep? During REM sleep, we get rapid eye movements, visible externally. This is the time when people dreams. How do you know? You are watching at a person while he is asleep. The moment you find he is having rapid eye movements, or you may do a concomitant EEG also. In a screen, EEG is being shown. The physiologist is sitting beside the person while the person is sleeping. You find rapid eye movement. You find beta waves appeared. You then awake the person. What happened? I was dreaming. Every time he was made awake, he said, I was dreaming. Either he has become a king, or he has become a pauper, or he has passed motion, or something like that. No, everything is dry. I haven't passed motion. It was a dream only. Why motion? Because some street dog is barking at him, going to bite him. Wow, wow, gow, gow. And then he's made awake and says, oh. Out of fear he passed motion. So what are the features of REM sleep? Number 1, rapid eye movement. Number 2, dreams. Number 3, difficult to awake. It is difficult to awake the person during REM sleep, though he is nearer to wakefulness. Because during wakefulness you get beta waves, and during REM sleep also you get beta waves. Still it is difficult to awake the person. There is sympathetic stimulation. If you do a multiple studies, that means multi-channel studies, you have seen in the physiology classes, there is something called, have you seen in the laboratory? Physiographs. You can do EEG with the same instrument. You can do EEG, you can do ECG, you can measure heart rate, etc. Several things you can do together. With that, if you will find, you can do blood pressure, you will see the heart rate is increased. During REM sleep, heart rate is increased. It was 60, when you are sleeping, it becomes 100 when it is in REM sleep phase. The blood pressure is increased. So why? Because there is aesthetic stimulation during this phase. Even there is maybe half a degree centigrade or maybe 1 degree Fahrenheit, but the temperature increases. But the GI motility is decreased. What happens in sympathetic? Heart rate increased, blood pressure increased, temperature increased, but GI motility is decreased. And there is increase, the muscles becomes more flaccid. There is another thing, it is usually at the end of the night. The REM sleep comes at the end of the night. It may come also in the middle of the night, but then again the cycle restarts. Again NREM first stage, NREM second stage, NREM third stage, NREM fourth stage, again REM sleep. And the sleep ends with REM sleep and there you will find, you will be dreaming. Suddenly you get up, oh, I was only dreaming. And it is also found that in boys you will find there is erection of the penis also. Almost invariably, you may not have any sexual thoughts during the dream. The dream may all be on Vivekananda or some godly things, but there is penile erection at the same time. So these are the features of REM sleep. What are the features of REM sleep? Rapid eye movements, dreams, difficult to make him awake, sympathetic stimulation, leading to increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, increased temperature, body temperature, decreased GI motility, and increased muscle tone. Usually there is more activation of the reticular activating system. If you put one electrode in the reticular activating system, it is found that particularly the pons, not the midbrain up, not the medulla oblongata down, but the middle portion is pons varolai, full name in anatomy. They get more activated. And there is usually male erection of the penis during this phase. So these are the features of REM sleep, rapid eye movement. And NREM, just the opposite, heart rate decreased, as if the parasympathetics are stimulated. Heart rate decreased, blood pressure decreased, temperature, body temperature decreased, slow respiration, GI motility increased, muscle tone decreased. During NREM sleep, muscle tone, whenever you find there is sleep apnea, it is usually due to during NREM sleep. There is severe loss of muscle tone. Because there is severe loss of the muscle tone, the tongue made up of muscles only, it gets relaxed, falls back, closes the opening of the laryngopharynx, and there is apnea. There may be death also. This is called cot death, sudden cot death or sleep death, sudden sleep death. This happens during NREM sleep phase. The eyes become still, eyes are not moving like in REM sleep. So that is about sleep. Usually questions come, two things, write short note on EEG, write short note on the stages of sleep. So prepare your answers so you get maximum marks. If it is a 15 marks question, you must get 14. If it is 5 marks question, you must get 4.5. Okay, best of luck. Thank you for the patient.